Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria, and today I'm so excited to talk to you about masculine and feminine energies. And no, this won't be like a masculine feminine energy reading, but I do want to talk about the energetics that play into understanding the parts that those represent. I think something that I have been discovering that I use really frequently in my own life and to understand myself and to really embody and embrace my own feeling of love and my relationship to God, source, universe, and my relationship to myself and my confidence and my self-worth comes from my ability to understand parts work. And I know like therapists and a lot of therapeutic methods kind of refer to this as understanding different parts of you, like your inner child, your inner mother, your inner father. But we can also look at it as like yin, yang, masculine, feminine, light, dark. It's the contrast and the duality within us that continues to allow us to magnify the energies that are birthed from within us and birthed in co-creation with God, source, universe, with life, with other people. And what I want to really touch on is the understanding that there's this mainstream dating emphasis on how to be in your feminine energy to attract a man, or how to embrace your masculine energy to be able to receive a embodied woman. And I think that as much as that is a beautiful thing and a beautiful path to go down, I also truly, this is a personal belief, I mean, up to you, but I also believe that that's also just portraying a sense of performance in order to get something. It's still putting our sense of validation and self-worth into something that's going to be coming in the future. And it's still putting us in a place where we're waiting and anticipating the lack of something until we see it. And it's almost controlling in the sense where we're trying to learn how to embrace our feminine energy or our masculine energy based on what we think that we're meant to be in order to receive. And if you're already in the mindset of thinking that you have to be in a certain energy to receive something, then you're already unaligned to the version of life that you're actually wanting to create. You're going to bring in the reflection of that needing of control, or that essence of needing to be different in order to be loved. And instead, I think that, a lot of creators and spiritual teachers and life coaches or embodiment coaches also teach this idea of understanding how we can unionize our inner masculine and feminine energy. And I say that with knowing what that means, but I'm not sure everyone understands how to do that. How do you understand who your inner masculine is and your inner feminine is? How do you embrace them? How do you get them to work together? Because we do have dominant energy, but the essence of that isn't going to create this wholeness if we're going to constantly be pushing down the other essences. And that includes the mind, it includes the heart, it includes the soul, the body, all these different parts, like I mentioned in parts work. And when we're talking about masculine and feminine energy, we're talking about the ability to surrender to ourselves and trust within ourselves without having to be validated by our physical reality telling us who we are. And in order to do that, there's a process that I use constantly and in my life where I have to understand, okay, where's the separation coming from? And one of the biggest things for me is that I was in a position back in like 2019 and going into 2020 where I was really learning the embodiment of what my masculine and feminine energies were, how they came across. But it wasn't fully embraced yet because I didn't consciously understand how to get those energies to work together. And then I went through this incredibly long and tumultuous separation where they weren't working together at all. And my inner essence was so shattered. I had anxiety. I felt defeated. I felt confused all the time. They weren't communicating well. They weren't able to come together and be in union and work together to create life. And I plan on making future videos to talk about the details of what I experienced and how I understood what that separation was, and how I started to actually understand how to heal that. And in this video, though, I just want to touch on the fact that, like, even though you might be a woman or a man or whatever gender you identify as, and you are then pushing yourself to identify with a particular energy, whether it be feminine or masculine, the essence of them both is what creates wholeness. And it actually then creates this vortex, and that's the magnetism. Because if you don't trust your inner masculine, then you're going to outsource that trust of security into someone outside of you. And then you're going to be constantly bringing in either men that are emotionally unavailable or are not secure enough to be able to support you, or they're going to resent you. And same goes for men. If you're not able to consciously be able to integrate your feminine energy, then every feminine woman you come across is going to be a threat to you. So when we think about the union of that, we have to be able to come within. We have to be able to understand what that dialogue is within us. And the archetypes that we carry within our masculine and feminine energy are not going to look the same for everybody. Every feminine energy is not going to express themselves the same, or every masculine energy is not going to express themselves the same. But the idea is that when they come together, when we learn what they are, who they are, the duality of what they are, and why they can finally trust each other, then we can integrate them and trust ourselves within life and trust our connection to the source without needing to really worry about what is to come, because we're already going to be living in our authentic truth. It might feel delusional. I have had many moments where I have felt so delusional and incredibly crazy, and I have had to remind myself, like, no, this is my truth. I have to be able to believe in that. And that's kind of the integration part of really having to trust yourself without 3D validation first. So the key is that when we are able to learn how to not outsource our power or outsource our needs to other people, then we're always going to be attracting things that are aligned with us, because we're already whole. Where everything that's meant for us is going to be able to be received and be experienced fully, because we're no longer searching for ourselves within those experiences. And I hope that that is in resonance with you. I plan on making more videos on this. I think my journey has been really deeply surrounding this aspect of masculine and feminine. I regularly check in to see how they're doing, like within myself. And I regularly have conversations and try to figure out, okay, where is the separation coming from? Okay, what is it that my feminine is scared of? Like, so much fear that has had to like kind of come up, and I've had to work through like conversation. And I think that a lot of the fears I've been working through are shame and guilt, and also fear of like self-blame and letting people down, not being enough. And all of those conversations have happened internally without the need of someone else validating the truth of them externally from me. And to be fair, I think that my life has been kind of set up for me to be able to do that for myself divinely. And I think that it's just time for me to be able to share kind of parts and bits of what that looks like for me. So I wanted to make this video to inspire you to continue to like really understand who you are inside yourself, who your masculine energy is and your feminine energy is, and what that means to you. We really do want to get to know what that wholeness feels like for ourselves, and what being human can entail. I think we forget that being human also is being spiritual, and we forget that being human is also an experience that involves getting to know what it can feel like to actually experience duality, and what it's like to be in a position where your outside life doesn't quite match your internal life, and how do we actually work within ourselves to make that reality. And it has a lot to do with integrating our masculine energy with our feminine energy and building that trust. And so that's what I have for you today. And I am so grateful that you're here. Please subscribe, leave a thumbs up or a comment below, and I'll talk to you soon.